My name's Anu Vaidyanathan. I'm from Bangalore, South India. That's south of North India, so it's slightly warmer there. And yeah, my alter ego is a tropical water buffalo. You know, we like languishing and we don't get along with landlords. Yeah. I recently heard that there's a saying that says, apparently very wisely, that a cat has 9 lives. But I think South Indian cats only have about 3 lives, and I'm very eager to share all of my 3 lives with you in excruciating detail. I used to be an athlete at some point, and I was the kind of athlete nobody wanted to fund because, you know, triathletes are a secret society of people with severe attention deficit disorder. So nobody took us seriously. But I remember thinking all the time that I was an athlete that wouldn't it be wonderful if I could quit one of my 2 day jobs? You know, I would get an extra hour of sleep, you know, maybe recover better, you know, maybe perform better. But the thing about triathlon is that the spandex has to match, you know. So there was no question of quitting my job, so I couldn't do that. A couple of years later, I became a writer, and I had a day job that paid the bills, and I remember thinking, maybe I should quit my day job, you know. That would mean I could wake up an hour earlier, and probably the muse would be amused and show up at my door. But then I had to tide over a wave of rejection letters from the publishers. In fact, in 2012, I filled a whole closet with these rejection letters, and my husband had to send out for a search party because I got lost somewhere in the back. Yeah. And you know, in my third life as a comedian, I've really stopped asking such stupid questions. You know, nowadays it's about just get me any job, really anything that will pay, you know, to get the tickets to the next gig, right? And so in search of this mythical job, I recently moved to Mumbai. Now you must understand that Indians don't like Shakespeare. You know, we are not about, you know, what's your name. In India, it's all about your name, you know, especially your last name. So yeah, Mumbai used to be called Bombay. Madras is now called Chennai, and Bangalore is called Bengaluru, so it's all very confusing. So I showed up in Mumbai, and you know, I realized that I eat like a cave woman. You know, I cannot survive on fast food for more than a day. And so after 2 days of severe gastroenteritis, I went out to look for a flat, as all normal people do. Now, given my history with landlords, you know, when I was a student athlete in the United States, the deal breaker with the landlord used to be, do you smoke weed? Come on, we're on a college campus, of course, and no, I don't smoke weed. And when they got rid of that excuse, the next one was, are you going to cook curry in the kitchen? Are you going to make it smell? No, I'm not going to make it smell, I don't cook. And in Europe, I moved after I got married, and you know, for the European landlord, the deal breaker is pets. You know, but you know, we were recently married. My husband and I could barely tolerate each other, so there's no question of having furry animals in the house. So I was like, no pets. And so the next question that the European landlords would sort of point to was that, you know, we were the weird Indian tenants who never opened their windows, you know. After I had moved from equatorial Madras to, you know, glacial Munich, I'm not going to open my fucking windows. So when I moved to Mumbai, I knew, you know, the landlords would do a number on me, so I was prepared. But they couldn't find what was wrong with me because, you know, in Mumbai, if you've been reading the news, nobody smokes weed. And also in Mumbai, nobody cooks because they're too busy, you know, making money for rent. There was a movie made about that called The Lunchbox, where we depend on people called dabbawalas. You know, they just bring you packed lunch. And the third thing about Mumbai is, you know, leaving your window open is really no problem because, you know, it's quite warm, and being a Hindu, we are also pagan, so we like to commune with animals. In fact, in my high-rise hotel, yeah, really, we love them. There was a whole family of monkeys that used to knock on my door on the 13th floor. Yeah, it was a lovely time. And so, you know, when these landlords couldn't find any of these excuses to dislike me, they figured I was divorced. And, you know, I'd run away from Europe to India to look for a house. What they didn't know is that I'm an artist, so I can't afford to be divorced. You know, whatever. And so they, you know, I had a long line of rejections again. So when this one lady called me and said that she wanted to rent the place to me, I rushed to her apartment, which was on the 17th floor of a high-rise with no balconies. Because the other thing about Mumbai is that they don't believe in the laws of gravity. They're naturally suspicious. Yeah, and they believe in climbing, percolating up the ladder. And for me, who's genuinely afraid of heights, this was like walking a tightrope into hell. But I did it, you know. I mean, I have to find that kitchen, right? So, you know, we started this grand chess game. You know, she's the grandmaster, I'm the rookie. And the first question she asks me is, do you cook? And I said, of course I cook, I have 2 children, I have to cook. So I could see the mental mathematics in her mind, she had to declassify me as a crazy divorcee into a crazy divorcee with children. And her second question was whether I was going to keep her maid to clean up after me. And I said, no, I've lived abroad for too long and I'm a Calvinist on Sundays. I believe in doing my own work. And she said, really? Do you also do your own laundry? And I said, of course I do my own laundry, so does my husband, right? And so now the mental mathematics became calculus, and she now had to think of the fact that a married woman with children was looking for a job. I mean, fabulous things do happen in India. And that was really when she offered me a cup of sweet tea. And when Indians offer you food, that's basically your cue to fuck off. So I made up my excuse and I left. And so if any of you want to rent a flat in North America, Europe or India, please call me because I'm your person. So I can give you a flat.